Hey everybody, it's Cameron, aka Moneyman Cam from Stock Splaining. We're just going to go ahead and take a look at our end of the day charts. We're going to go over the SPY, QQQ, IWM, the VIX, and then we'll also go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Before we begin, I just want to send my continuous heartfelt condolences to those that are affected by the current situation in Ukraine right now. Ukraine is being invaded by both Russia and Belarus, and I think the people there need all the support that they can get. Um, I have been following a lot of journalists that are, on the ground there, and I've been following a lot of the military um, strikes that are going on very closely, and it was just absolutely heartbreaking to see the damage um, done to people's lives and the loss of life and the casualties. But that being said, I've also seen some very, very heartfelt moments. Seeing uh, people rally together, come help one another, especially in such times. Um, I've seen Russian troops lay down their weapons uh, because they don't want to fight. Their fellow Ukrainian brothers and sisters. So the only thing we can do is really just hope for peace. We saw there was some divisive action taken by the international community today. Whether or not it's enough, um, we will see. But just know if you are hurting because of this conflict, I am keeping you in my thoughts and prayers. With that being said, we're just going to jump right into things. Big headline for today is invasion happened. We gapped down. But within the first 15 minutes, markets completely broke out and we just never saw the bottom again. In fact, we not only closed the gap, but we broke past the next level of resistance and have put ourselves back at pretty healthy levels. And what's interesting to note is we could actually see this continuation um, rally go on at least until tomorrow, if not into next week. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started with SPY here. No surprise, we gap down, massive green candle. This was actually, I looked it up, the last time that we had a intraday move that was this wide was actually in 2008. SPY opened around 411, 412, and we finished all the way around 428, which is just absolutely insane. The QQQ, I think, was even crazier. Opened around like 314 and we finished around 340. So just insane volatility today. Um, one of the craziest bounces I've ever seen. But the real star of today is actually the SPY 15-minute chart. And the reason why is yesterday I was talking about how we needed to essentially see and observe what the first 5 to 15 minutes of trading would look like. And as you can see here, when we opened, markets just continued to rally forward. We ran into resistance, but we broke this previous gap down resistance level, came back and retested it around 7 o'clock. And then we just continued the momentum upwards. And it was just nonstop. And then right around here, around I believe it was 9:30 or 10:30 Pacific time when Biden spoke, and things just erupted. Um, Now, some have many different theories for why markets had such a reaction. Some say, it was the anticipation of the invasion had ended and now it was definite. Others say it was due to the international community, namely Western powers, coming together and sanctioning Russia, but not going so far as to cut them off from the SWIFT payments network. So the prices of oil would be relatively stable. Um, Others would argue that. Um, it was the fact that uh, some in the Federal Reserve were being a little bit more dovish, and that there would not be a 50 basis point hike coming in March. So obviously, a lot of different theories, a lot of different reasons. But we just play the technical levels. We try to filter out the news as much as possible, despite this being a very, very headline-driven rally, essentially. And we were able to find some very, very good opportunities. So going into tomorrow, the main thing I'm actually going to be watching is, first of all, I'm going to be watching to see if we could break above this 200 SMA, it's the yellow line right here on the 15-minute chart. If we can, and we can hold above it, then I think we're probably going to be looking at a test of 430 and then $433 or 61.8 retracement on the 1 hour chart. That would be our pretty significant level of resistance. We have nearly a triple top right here on the hourly chart. And if we could, we would reclaim this hourly 50 SMA that we've actually been under since um, the 17th, essentially. So, really, how we're approaching this is we're still overall in a bearish trend. I think people need to understand that, right? We're still looking at broad lower highs. However, we also, on these shorter time frames, are kind of taking back some of that land, and we're slowly forming higher lows. So if we can kind of just grind higher, slowly, slowly, slowly grind higher, then bulls have a lot more room to work with. And we could potentially see a push back up to $435 and then maybe even $440. So those are the levels I'm watching for SPY. If we are not able to hold this momentum, some really, really bad news comes out, then I think we're going to probably see a retest of at least $420. That is where our support is, 420.88. If we cannot hold this level, most likely we're going to be seeing a drop below our hourly 23.6% retracement, and we could see a push lower towards about $415. All right, next up we have QQQ. This had an absolutely massive rally. Um, I mean, unbelievable. We opened at a low of $318 and we finished at a high of $341. So this was a massive, massive play. I actually did not play the QQQ. I played the SPY today, but had I played the QQQ, gains would have been even more lucrative. Now, what we're watching here is if we can hold above this level tomorrow, and if we could push above this level and hold above our 76.8% extension, $341.84 is a level we want to hold tomorrow. If we're able to, then we will be setting ourselves up for a potential bull move up, and we can see the bulls have a fighting chance, maybe moving us back towards $349. Now, again, very, very similar situation. Right at the first 15 minutes, we had a massive move up. Once we reclaimed that 15-minute 50 SMA and held, we never saw that low tested again, and we kept moving higher and higher and higher. Now, with QQQ on the daily chart, something else that I'm going to be watching is our RSI. What I'm going to be watching here is whether or not our RSI is able to break out or if we get rejected. Now, a lot of times people may look at the price action simply, but I think the RSI is an even more important indicator because if we're unable to break above this level of resistance on the RSI, that could signal that we will see a move lower. So for people who are playing towards the upside, if they notice that RSI does not break out and it fails to move higher, then that is a sign to take profits. So that's something I'm going to be watching into tomorrow if I do take a bullish position on QQQ. Now, the level to watch for tomorrow, if we are unable to hold these highs, is going to be 329. Let's see, 329.13. If we are unable to hold this level, then we could see a move, and we could see a move lower, potentially back towards $318. Do I think that's the most likely scenario? Probably not. Do I still think it's possible for us to test this low? Absolutely, but I don't think it's going to be probable going into tomorrow. Now, there is something interesting to note. On the 4-hour chart on QQQ, it looks like we are forming a potential inverse head and shoulders. So here's our left shoulder. Here is our body. And potentially, if tomorrow we could see a cool down, maybe we move a little bit lower, RSI is able to be relatively stable to flat, and then we get a push back above towards $342, we could see a breakout and move straight towards $349. So that is a level that I will be watching as well, $342. Ideally, we want to see a pullback, RSI cools off a bit, and then we see the move upwards and RSI breaks out. The IWM also had a massive, massive move. We talked about yesterday in our video how if we were not able to hold 192, then we would see a push towards 188. And what's interesting is if you look on a daily chart here, we actually have a double bottom. So here's one bottom and here's the other. So this is actually a very, very strong level of support. And it's pretty uncanny how we double bottomed right to a T, right to 188.09, which I thought was absolutely crazy. I predicted yesterday that um, we would see many of the growth names get absolutely hammered, but because the gap down was all through the pre-market, and we only went up when market opened. Many of our names that had gap down as well um, had massive, massive moves. I mean, Coinbase is one perfect example. Coinbase went from about $155 at open, and it finished around $179. Another example is um, MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy just had a monster move up. Um, Upstart, CrowdStrike, a lot of these hyper growth names had insane moves. And obviously, the broader market moving higher significantly helped that as well. So, what I'm looking for on the IWM, it's pretty simple. There isn't really a whole lot to watch here. But 198.57 is our level of resistance there. This is our 50% extension. I want to see us retake this. If we could retake this, then we're going to be pinned between a pretty strong level of support here. Maybe we're a little bit range bound. And then we could push back above 200. Maybe we could hold and work our way back up towards our 50 SMA on the daily. So that would put us around $208. If we look at our hourly, we barely held our 50 SMA, but this could be a potential bull flag. So this is something to keep an eye out for. If we're able to potentially hold here and bounce, then our next main target is going to be $200 to $201, right at the confluence of our 100 SMA on the hourly and our 200 SMA. If this bull flag does not form, we still have quite a bit of room to work with, and we have some strong hourly supports. I would be eyeing 195, which would probably be our confluence of our 9 EMA on the hourly and our 38.2% retracement. Now, the VIX got absolutely destroyed. I talked about how yesterday um, we would see essentially the VIX spike on news of this inflation. Sorry, not inflation, invasion. But once that invasion news would be out, that level of uncertainty would actually decrease. And we saw the VIX form a massive, massive uh, gap up, but it just completely lost all that momentum. So if anyone had UVXY or VXX positions, I hope they exited right at that top, right at the open, because it just got relentlessly destroyed. And now, I mean, we're looking at a lower high as well here. 29.43 or 50% retracement is going to be the level to watch here. If we are unable to hold that, then I anticipate that we're going to simply see a move back to 27. And then from there, most likely we'll see a push lower to the low 20s, probably around 25. Even the intraday timeframes, maybe tomorrow morning we could see, for example, if SPY and QQQ and IWM may cool off a little bit, we could see VIX try to reclaim 32, but I doubt it's going to hold it unless there's some pretty significant market moving news. Alrighty. We're also just going to take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin bottom today, or I should say yesterday. Uh, Bitcoin made a low of about $34,324. Now, I was anticipating we would see a test of 32,950 at the confluence of our 38.2% retracement and our weekly 100 SMA, but we did not see that. Um, but we got pretty close at around $34,000. Now, it is interesting to note that uh, Bitcoin today was, in my opinion, the market leader. And what I mean by that is when I was trading SPY today, I took cues from Bitcoin. So if I noticed that SPY was starting to kind of falter, then I would look at my Bitcoin chart. And if Bitcoin had the continuous strength, then I would know that SPY and QQQ would most likely be able to push higher. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Now, Bitcoin here, we are looking most likely at a test of our 50% retracement back at $39,412. If we can hold this level going into tomorrow and going into the weekend, then I think it's probable that we test $40,000 and then maybe we make the push back to $41,000. Now, again, the broader trend is still looking at lower highs, but it is possible that maybe we see a little bit of movement. And if we're able to reclaim and hold that 50% retracement in our 9 EMA on the weekly, maybe we could see a move towards $47,000. If we do, then that is going to be a very, very significant moment. Because if we are able to break above, then I think the Bitcoin bull thesis is in full swing and we could see a move back towards the 55,000, reclaim that, and slowly work our way back up. If not, we could see a rejection at around $47,000, but we still have plenty of room to work with to form higher lows, and we could try again if needed. Now, is it still possible for Bitcoin to test that weekly 100 SMA? I think it is still possible. I don't think it's out of the picture. I think tomorrow is going to be very, very telling. If tomorrow markets just dump, then I think that that will definitely instill a little bit more fear into the markets, a little bit more uncertainty. and we could grind back lower. But if we were able to hold our ground tomorrow that we covered today, then I think we could see that grind upwards. Now, today, I actually did 5 day trades. It was the most amount of trades I've ever done today. And I actually was successful in all of my trades. Now, two of them, unfortunately, I was unable to alert just because of how quickly they moved. I was trading zero DTEs, but I was able to alert three of them. And actually, our first trade was on coin, and we took 37% profits on that. It was $224. We traded one contract. Our second trade was actually on SPY, and that was a 20% profit for $156. And our final trade was actually with coin, and it was $100 a profit, and it was 10% on the trade. Now, with all of these trades, I did end up selling prematurely, and my gains would have been significantly more. But what's important is I sold into strength, and I was consistent, and I stuck to my plan, stuck to my price targets, and we made out with very, very solid profits today. Um, you know, you never go broke taking profits, and this definitely was uh, a mental battle for sure. But I am glad that I was able to stick to my plan and just be consistent and really just use data and price action um, as my edge to maximize my alpha. So, strong day for us overall. Um, and I look forward to doing more day trades. Now, really, what I've just been doing with these day trades is raising lots of cash. And what I'm going to do with a lot of these profits, as these companies report earnings, we had Square and we had Coinbase report earnings, and I thought they were very, very strong earnings, especially Square's. Um, I'm going to roll some of these profits that I took from trading into my long-term positions, so I could build both a long-term portfolio and I could keep day trading as well, or swing trading, or whatever amount of trading needed. It's definitely a very, very strong day for us in the Discord. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you for listening, and I hope this market analysis was helpful. We are still far from out of the trenches, and there's definitely still um, a lot that can happen, good or bad. But we're just taking this one day at a time, and we are just being data driven, and we will come out of this stronger. Um, my thoughts are with the people of Ukraine. My thoughts are with the protesters in Russia who are crying out for peace. And, I hope this storm will pass and uh, peace will prevail. So, thank you very much. Um, if this video was helpful, please share it. Um, Feel free to subscribe if my content is helpful and you like seeing more of these videos. Um, Definitely, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.